So let us have a look into the section that is elements of writing, which is included in your paper, that is writing for academic and professional success. So in this paper you may be well familiar with formal and informal writing and what is the difference between academic and non-academic writing, and you may also be familiar with the tips that you are supposed to follow while you are planning to be a good academic writer. Now we are going to have a look into the elements of writing. So the rhetorical mode of writing or the elements can be classified into four. They are narration, then it is the next is description, next is illustration, and next is argumentation. So in this section we are going to have a look into all these four elements. So coming to the first one, narration, it is a rhetorical mode where you are relating to events. While you are relating to events means you are stating events one after another. So a narration can be either fictional or non-fictional. For example, if you are telling a story, it is fictional. But if you are telling your life incidents, here you are relating events, you are speaking about events one after another, but it is non-fictional. So a narrative can be fictional and non-fictional. This is how your text defines the concept of narration. A narrative tells a story. Telling story is probably as old as human discourse. So while humans started communication, there is the technique of narration, and we were doing narration in a more flexible way. But coming to the narration in writing, coming to the concept of narration in writing, coming to written narrative, we have to remember that written narrative is more an organized one. So while you are telling an short story or a long fiction of 600 pages with many characters, events, situations, place description, etc., you have to make sure that you are narrating it in an organized way. So these are some examples of fictional narrative, which include short story, novel, folklore, and non-fictional narrative includes autobiography, biography, news report, newspaper essay, the historical account, testimonies, and confession. So these are the general characteristics of narrative. It should have a plot which constitute the central element of narrative, where you are having a good sequencing of all events. Coming to setting, it includes the location, time, and time mentioned in narrative. Now we have characters which are the subjects of narrative. They may be protagonist or antagonist. Not maybe, there will be protagonist or antagonist. Now coming to conflict, it refers to the problem that is existing in the narrative, and climax of the narrative is a resolution, and every narrative will have a point of view. It refers to the perspective of the person who is telling the narrative. So coming to a narrative essay, it may be personal or it may be impersonal. You can take a personal point of view if you are writing your own life experience, or you can take an impersonal point of view, that is an objective style. So every essay, like any other essay, in narrative essay also there will be a thesis statement, there will be a body paragraph, middle paragraph, and concluding paragraph. Now come introductory paragraph, body paragraph, and concluding paragraph, and it is necessary that all body paragraphs should be arranged in proper sequences, proper ordering, and the sequences should be arranged in such a way that it should sustain the curiosity in the mind of a reader. So reader's attention can be caught by using dialogues and description and physical description of place and setting will help reader visualize the events. It should also conflicts in the narration will create suspense in reader, and it will lead to climax and resolution of the conflicts. So a written narrative tends to be appear to be more catchy by following all these narrative styles. Now, coming to description, it referred to the ability to describe people, things, etc. So, instead of narration, which is narrating even, in descriptive mode, we are describing events one after another. So, it is something that is sensuous, where our sense of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, everything is satisfied while the speaker is providing description. So in descriptive essay it may be either subjective or objective. It depends upon the purpose of essay. So if, for example, if you are describing your personal thing, like your place of birth or your school, your first day at school, etc., here you may be using a subjective way, or where the personal space or personal writing is foregrounded. So it may be subjective or objective. So here you are describing events. Coming to the features of descriptive writing, you can coming to the academic writing, coming to the level of academic writing, it depends upon the style of descriptive writing, depends upon the mode of your assignment. You may follow objective or subjective methods, but it purely depends upon the mode of your mode of your assignment. So a descriptive writing, you can use your own style, but you should determine the purpose of your writing. After that, you should select the mode of your writing, whether objective or subjective, whether explicit or implicit. After that, you can start describing something. You should describe everything in the correct order. If it is chronological, if it is related to a time, you should make sure that you are following correct chronological order. You should provide correct details like sight, sound, smell, touch, etc. You should use proper use of words and of course, if you need to use figurative expressions, you can use figurative expression in descriptive writing. So in short, in descriptive writing, you are describing an incident contradictory to narration, where you are recollecting events one after another. Now, the next element is illustration. This type of rhetorical mode is aimed at explaining. So, what is the difference between description and explaining? In description, you are describing a thing, but in explanation, you will be providing an illustration to what you have described with examples. So, if you are speaking about your place of birth, if you are speaking about that place, if you are describing about that place by detailing that account, it is description. Instead, if you are illustrating it with example by providing the map or providing any graph or providing any photos, it is illustration. This is the difference between description and illustration. So here we are explaining with example, for example, photograph, etc. If you are using a persuasive style, if through your writing you are trying to persuade your audience, you will have to use more illustrative elements in it. For if you are writing a report or anything like that, you will be using this technique of illustration. I have an example is being provided here. So, what are the features of an illustrative writing? In illustrative writing, you are illustrating your points with examples. So, it will be giving a controlled idea, and examples will be provided or incorporated there as statement. So, while you are providing examples, examples should be specific that support what you are saying. So audience will take the point on the basis of example, and sufficient number of examples should be given. Now illustration can be done by providing images, graphs, chart, etc. Whatever may be the illustration that you are providing, it should be given in a more organized way. And you can use transition phrases like for example, for instance, one example, etc., if you are relating to more than one point. So in illustration, you are illustrating what you are done with examples. So we have dealt with narration, description, and illustration, and the fourth type of rhetoric is argumentation. So, coming to argumentation, it is a type of persuasive reading. In an argumentative writing, your intention or your objective will be to persuade your readers to think in the way you want, or in the way you wants them to think. So you will be providing opinions and views in a more convincing manner. So in an argumentative essay, there will be argument, and your argument should be clear and logical. And for that, it is necessary that you should be a good critical thinker too. So, any rational any reasonable space of discourse is argument, and the purpose of argumentative essay is to convince the reader or listener. In liberal arts and humanities, you can see argumentative writing. Now, coming to argumentative writing, there will be these point: arguments, assertion, proposition, premises, and conclusion. Let us have a look into this one by one. What do you mean by argument? Argument is a debatable statement, and that debatable statement may be agreed by others or may not be agreed by others, but a debatable statement is argument. Now, so it may be agreeable or it may not be agreeable, but a debatable statement is argument. Now, coming to arguments will be only on debatable topic, and a statement that is not debatable or that is accepted by everyone is not argument, they are fact. So what is the difference between facts and arguments? Facts are always agreed by others. For example, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It is a fact, and it is not debatable. So it is fact, but arguments are something that is debatable. So coming to a statement, it may have premises and conclusion, and state premises are assertion that leads to conclusion, and conclusion are supported by premises. For example, no one under 18-year-old can vote. Sina is under 18 years. Both are premises. Then Sina is under 18 years. Because of that reason, she cannot vote. So, therefore, she cannot vote is conclusion. So, premises needs some supporting statement like opinion, quotes, reports, and etc. in order to reach to the conclusion. So, coming to elements of argumentative writing, it includes arguments, assertion, proposition, premises, and conclusion. We have said arguments. What are arguments? Now we said what are assertions. So you are asserting your points. That is what assertion is. There may be propositions in an argumentative essay. There will be premises and there will be conclusion. Now coming to premises. Premises are assertion that lead to conclusion, and conclusion are supported by premises. No one under 18 year old can vote. It is an assertion. Okay. Premises are assertion that lead to conclusion. Now, no one under 18-year-old can vote. It is an assertion. Sina is under 18 year. So, Sina cannot vote. It is an assertion that lead to conclusion. So, premises are assertion that leads conclusion, and conclusion are always support by premises. So, these are the main mode of rhetoric, that is elements, that is narration, description, argumentation, and narration, description, illustration, and narration, description, illustration, and argumentation. These are the main elements of writing. Thank you.